Okay, did you know a new PMP exam is coming out July 2026? Stay informed on exam updates and prepare for the 2026 PMP certification. It says, keeping up with changing times, the project management professional PMP exam is changing too. The 2026 updates reflects the future of the profession with a sharper focus on the skills and mindsets driving meaningful results in today's world. A reimagined PMP exam built around real-world impact and value. Updated learning resources available April 2026. A continued promise to uphold the PMP as a global gold standard. Cough. IPMA, I'm sorry. Prince 2, you know I love you guys. I'm sorry. They're PMI's words, they're not mine. All right, you can take the current exam anytime until July 2026. A pilot of the new exam will run from 5th of January to 30th of January 2026, and the fully updated exam launches in 2026. Does this sound familiar? Shivers for some of you. You won't be able to register for the new version until July 2026, but you can start preparing for it in April 2026 when the new materials are released. Okay, exciting news. So the PMP certification exam content outline 2026 defines what is tested on the exam. And here you have the pleasure of seeing shivers for some of you. The PMP exam content outline. Let's see what's in here. So as usual, we have the people domain, the process domain, and the business environment. Lots of you procrastinators feel what has changed. Well, let me let you know right off the bat that the business environment is now 26%. Those of you procrastinators, you remember it was just a measly 8% or something like that. Well, now it's a lot more. The people domain, which used to be 42%, has shrunken down to 33%. And the process domain, which was 50%, has shrunken down, thank goodness, to 41%. It's shrunken down by 9%, thereby making it fairer for the people taking the exam to succeed if they're business oriented, right? But at the end of the day, when we get into the details, this is what we see. Okay. People domain. Task 1, develop a common vision. You know, even the good book says where there's no vision, the people are in trouble. Yep, that's true. So we want to develop a common vision. Number 2, which used to be number 1, is now manage conflicts. And it just makes sense. As a PM, as a team, you should take conflict head on. Task 3, which is always my favorite because it's about leadership. You know, I'm all about leadership. And this says lead the project team. Establish expectations at the team level, empower the team. Don't you love it? Solve problems, all that great stuff. We have engaged stakeholders, which hasn't really changed. But when we talk about engaged stakeholders, what I like about this new content outline is they've made it very clear that you got to identify them, analyze them, and tailor the communication. And this is quite in line with PMBOK 8. Task 5, still on stakeholders, is about aligning stakeholder expectations. Task 6 is about managing stakeholder expectations. Task 7 is about helping to ensure knowledge transfer. And this just makes sense. I was on a project and there was one person who knew everything. And I was scared. I hope he doesn't get hit by a bus because that's the end of the entire project. He wasn't doing any knowledge transfers. He was the brain behind the entire thing. But we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're transferring knowledge. Number 8, plan and manage communications. That's what the project manager should be doing. Hello. And moving on to the process domain, you see a very stark jump in people versus process compared to the previous content outline. What is that? Well, back in the day, the people domain used to be 14 tasks, but now we have only 8 tasks. So 6 tasks have been integrated into other areas. And that takes us into the process domain. So at an executive viewpoint, we now have 10 tasks for the process domain. This used to be 17. So I'm very delighted to see there's been a cut down of just, a lot of stuff that could be rolled up into one. Task 1 says develop an integrated project management plan and plan delivery. This just makes sense whether you're agile or you're predictive. It says recommend a project management development approach, determine critical information requirements, recommend a project execution strategy. And the bottom line is you got to collect and analyze data, make project decisions. The second task is develop and manage project scope, which just makes sense. Task three, help ensure value based delivery. It's all about value, my friends. And I'm glad that PMI is focused on the value. It's not about the big old processes to get deliverables. It's really about, are we value minded even in the features we're working on, or are we just doing busy work? You get the idea. Task four, plan and manage resources. It just makes sense, right? It's more like the resource area that we talked about, plan and manage procurement. I quite like the idea that procurement is front and center in its own task, since PMI removed it from the 8th edition and kind of weaved it into various processes throughout the 8th edition. Plan and manage finances. The language now rhymes with PMBOK 8. Plan and optimize quality of products and deliverables. Very happy to see quality making its appearance, and rightly so. Plan and manage schedule. Just makes sense. It's stuff we talked about earlier. Evaluate the project status. You already know stakeholders are big on this. So metrics, analysis, reconciliation, things like that. Then we get into task 10, manage project closure. It just rhymes with the language in the PMBOK Guide, 8th edition. Finally, my friends, we have the business environment, and business has swollen up to 8 tasks from 4. So it's double the size. But I'm quite excited because I'm a business guy. I like this stuff. So we have task 1, define and establish project governance. And PMI would often define governance as a framework within which authority is exercised. And it just makes sense because we're talking about escalation path and thresholds. We're talking about planning and managing compliance. This hasn't changed from the last outline. Manage and control changes. Just makes sense. It's what project managers always do anyway. Remove impediments and manage issues. I would have looked at that more in process, but even at a more executive standpoint, we can look at removing impediments much more higher up on the food chain. Task 5, plan and manage risk. Again, it's something that you could do at the organizational level or you could do at the project level. So some of this used to be in process, it's moved on to business. Task 6, continuous improvement, Kaizen, as I mentioned earlier. Task 7, support organizational change. If the organization is changing and your project supports it, that's something you should be happy about, right? And task 8, evaluate external business environment changes. This used to be in the previous outline. Talking about what you need to be a PMP, if you have a secondary school diploma and all of this other good stuff, which has now been called out, upper secondary school leaving certificate, and so on, then you need 5 years, right? 5 years of non-overlapping experience. And it says leading projects in the past 10 years. So they've taken it back more than just 8 years. Before it used to be 8 years. Now it's 10 years. So that gives you more ramp up time. I actually had a student asking me, Phil, I really would have liked to retake my PMP. Cautionary note. If you are PMP certified and you're thinking of letting it lapse, put on your smart person hat. Because I've had a lot of stakeholders who let their PMP lapse. They find themselves in a different place in life and they want to do it again. I have one of my stakeholders wants to do the exam again. So I got to share this with them that it's now 10 years and they may qualify, because some people haven't managed projects for 15 years, some even almost 20. They got to get the experience. You see why you shouldn't let your PMP lapse. Anyway, completion of a recognized associate's level higher certificate is also recognized here. They say a minimum of 48 months, and they also give you the equivalent. So there's an updated considerations for people that are beyond just the high school diploma. So this is 4 years for people that have an associate's, and I quite like that. So well done, PMI. You're moving with the times. So a lot of people, they're not doing the whole 4-year, 5-year degrees anymore. And then those who have a bachelor's degree, it's still 3 years. And then if you went to a GAC accredited college, a minimum of 24 months. So that has remained pretty much the same. All right, let's get into the grimy details that everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know. So the PMP exam coming up, we're going to have a total of 185 questions, and they're going to be 10 pre-test questions. Today we have 175 questions, of which 10 were pre-test. So now it's just the clear 175, the 10, but you don't know which 10 they are. Also, the allotted exam time, thank you, PM. I just make it a round number. They've taken away that goofy 230-minute number, and it's now 240 minutes. I don't begrudge them. Good idea. All right. Over here, we have case or scenario, where the candidate is presented with a detailed scenario or situation which may include graphs or charts to provide additional context. So, so those of you who are thinking of, oh, I guess I'll just delay the exam. Maybe this will put some fire under you. Look at that beast of a question. Isn't that a ferocious question? This could take the entire exam to understand. So my suggestion to you is, if you're looking at taking the exam in 2025 or before July 2026, yeah, definitely do that. You go ahead and do that, because this, the exam, it always looks like it gets a little bit trickier or more challenging. So a model like this, it says the candidate is presented with a scenario which may include graphs or charts to provide additional context. This could be a description of a business, a project, a decision-making process, or a combination of any. After reviewing the scenario, situation, and any accompanying visuals, the candidate will answer a series of questions based on all the information provided. Sorry, AI cannot help you with this one. Too many people saying, oh, well, I'll just use AI to jinx. No, you can't use AI. Even studying with AI, I just say be careful, because AI, a lot of times, it doesn't understand stuff. I asked AI a question, one of my questions, because a student said, this can't be right. So I asked AI and he got it wrong. And I'm like, yeah, you're not a human, so you don't understand everything. So be careful using AI. We have enhanced matching. Could include images or diagrams to help clarify the items being matched. In the example below, the candidate will drag one of the boxes on the right to a specific location on the chart. So you want to show where this project is ahead of schedule? Yeah, you can see. This is not a good situation because they've got all this work left. But here, what do you see? The ideal burn down. So this is ideal, but this shows they are not matching ideal. This is unfavorable. This is favorable because this is the work left. So the ideal breakdown had 300 left. Are you seeing what I'm talking about? This had 300 left, but this is a better situation. So where the blue line comes under is common sense anyway. That place is favorable. I plan to have 300 left at that point, but I only have 250 left. So that's good. Here you can see they're right on the money. Here you can see they're at 70, which they're still doing quite good. But whether they're going to get there to zero on 5-7 is to be determined. So these are just some examples of the question types coming. Then they have graphic-based questions. This type of question requires the candidate to refer to and interpret visual information. So here you go. There you've got these requirements. Salesforce, shameless advertising for Salesforce. Anyway, there you have it. The high staff turnover at the Business Solutions Center has caused significant frustration among B2B customers. And honestly, the way it was previously on the PMP exam, they would make it baby language for you. Like, they'd give you what the mnemonics mean, or they'll give you what the abbreviations mean, like B2B. Some people won't know what B2B is. That would be curtains for them. Except they can use common sense to rationalize it. The others, they kind of did put what the abbreviations mean. So that's cool. Hopefully people taking the exam know some of these things. Over here, we have multiple choice, single response, multiple response questions, multiple answer choices with more than one correct answer. We have point and click here as well. And you can see the area where you expected to click to get it right has been shown. We have matching, the almighty horrible matching that many of you cry about. Someone cried to me, Phil, I had 12 matching questions. Yeah, it can be tough, and it's not going to change, as you can see on this new PMP exam. All right. Then we have the pull down list. The correct answer must be selected from a drop down as shown below. So it's a lot of new stuff, a lot of new stuff. And then we also have language about taking the PMP exam, retaking the exam, acknowledgements, and the CCR program, right? Make sure you folks go to ccrs.pmi.org. If you've not been checking your PDUs, let me send it to you, because I know some of you are clueless, and I don't want you to lose your certification. Some of you ain't checking up on your ccrs.pmi.org. Let me put that in the chat. For those of you who know that, that is really more about your PMI, PDUs for all the certifications you have. Make sure you're checking up on it. Yeah, because I'm owing PMI. I'm owing them PDUs. I'm owing them like half a PDU. Half a PDU is what is holding my renewal of one of my certifications, which is just ridiculous. I got to get that squared away. Don't let that happen to you. Can you imagine waking up and then going to CCRS and seeing suspended? Your certification is suspended. It's not fun. Make sure you keep an eye on those pesky little PDUs, 60 PDUs, those of you PMPs, those of you CAPMs. Can't remember what it is for CAPM. My CAPM expires in 2027. So I have 5 of these certifications from PMI. I cried uncle after they started churning out more and more certs. I'm like, PMI, I'm done. My OPM3 was 3 in 1. I said, never again. That's it. I'm done with certifications for life with PMI, because my OPM3 was quite an experience, and then they disbanded it. I wasn't happy about that. And I looked in the PMBOK 8th edition. I saw Claudia, my OPM3 teacher. She had OPM3 against her name like me, and then one other person. Only 3 of us in the entire thing. But anyway, my friends, over the past number of minutes, I have been edutaining you. Hopefully, I've been entertaining you with PMBOK Guide 8. I know a lot of the skeptics, like me, wouldn't be very impressed, but I decided to take the high road. And I decided to say, well done, well done, well done. The team of people that put this together. It is very difficult to satisfy 2 million stakeholders. I'm estimating 2 million because of the number of PMPs we have. But anyway, someone wanted to know how much the PMP exam is. If you're not a member, 675. Currently, I hope it doesn't go up again. And then if you are a member, 575 thereabouts. But don't forget, you also have to pay for membership. So the numbers all add up. But any questions from anyone? Questions, concerns, comments that I can answer for you? I don't see any questions. Let me put out the clarion call. Questions. While I'm here, I'll be very happy to tackle any of these questions for you.